So, the 76ers just got swept by the Boston Celtics. And I'm honestly not sure where they go from here. They've got swept. I mean, you can make the argument that Ben Simmons didn't play the final couple of games because of injury. But the idea this season was coming from the 76ers that they were going for a championship. They might have made a mistake last year for trading for Jimmy Butler and not re-signing him going to the Heat. They looked bad in that last game. But the question is, do they fire a coach? I mean, it's probably going to be you're going to fire the coach, and then they'll find a new coach, and then next year it will be the same thing. I mean, they only lost last year to the Raptors on a Kawhi's last-second heroics. But man, you got to get more from your players. You just can't. You can't do that. So far, the closest they've been. Do they fire Brett Brown? Sorry, I was looking for the head coach. I wasn't sure who it was, but like, do you fire him? Do you go, man, we got to fire you? Do you? I mean, Elton Brand's your GM, but in the process, it was Sam Hinkie. Do you bring back Hinkie and go, we need to tank again? But then there's a danger of tanking because yes, you can tank and get a first overall pick like you do with Simmons and Embiid and Markelle Fultz. But then it's like, well, how do you insulate these players? How do you take that pressure off the players with veterans? And right now, they look bad. Their veterans looked overweight and out of shape. Joel Embiid's been injured a lot. Didn't play well in the last couple of games. Where do they go? Do you go and look for a veteran who's maybe won a title? Do you go and try to throw money at Andre Iguodala to come back to the 76ers? He's won a Finals MVP. He's won a championship, if not 2 titles. And do you go and try to bring him back to insulate some of the young players? Do you go and, throw some money at Danny Green? Depending on what his deal is with the Lakers this year. Do you throw money at him? Be like, hey, you've won 2 titles. You won a title in San Antonio. You won a title in Toronto. Do you bring him in? When Kyle Lowry's contract's expired, do you go and try to get Kyle Lowry on your team? You try to give him a hometown discount. Like, hey, you grew up in Philly. Do you want to play here? We'll throw in some money for you. Or is it like, yeah, does that happen? So far, the closest the 76ers have been back to the finals was 2001 with Allen Iverson. That was next year. That will be 20 years ago. And in that time, the Eagles have won. The Phillies have won. The Flyers still haven't done much of anything, but the Flyers were in the finals not too long ago. What do you do if you're the 76ers? You can't. I mean, you can fire the coach, but who are you going to bring in? I mean, who can you really bring in that time? Do you think, you throw a coaching job at Allen Iverson, maybe he'll come back, maybe he'll coach? Do you give whoever's the coach of the Blue Calls in? Do you bring in someone like Sam Mitchell, who's won a Coach of the Year? I'm not sure if Sam Mitchell will want the job. Or do you go and look at guys who's maybe won Coach of the Year and maybe are out? Do you go look at college coaches? I mean, what happens? I would even go as far as, well, do you fire the GM? Probably not yet. Historically, you would fire a coach before you fire a GM. But, this is the downside of what happens. All you're getting is first-round draft picks. Eventually, you need players to insulate. The best example I can make about this is the Edmonton Oilers. And I know I'm using a hockey reference on a basketball video, but there were years when the Edmonton Oilers always had the first overall draft pick. And they haven't been back to the Stanley Cup Finals since Chris Pronger played there. I believe that was 2004, the year after the lockout, or 2005, and he skipped town. Your biggest mistake so far was getting Jimmy Butler for half a year, and he skipped town, went to Miami. Now, I understand that. I would rather spend my winters in beautiful Miami than cold as fuck Philadelphia. But where did the Flyers go? They had a lot of hype coming in this year, and they're out in the first round. They didn't even win a game. They didn't even have enough heart and dedication to go, man, we got to win these games, so we can't get swept. We can't be embarrassed. People wanted us to win a championship this year. A lot of people bet on us. And now you're out in the first round. You're not even out in the first round. You're swept. You're embarrassed. Do you blow it up? Do you trade Embiid? Do you trade Simmons? Go, next year we're going to suck. And we're going to suck for a long time. But, you can get a first-round pick until you're blue in the face. But there are times when the first-round pick doesn't work out. The best example I can make for basketball is Anthony Bennett. Bennett was supposed to be this great generational player, and look at him now. Look at all the hype that was on Lonzo. When Lonzo came into the league, this is the second team. He's playing with the Pelicans now. It's great to be a first-round pick and dominate people in college. But they're 17, 16, those 21-year-old, kids, essentially. Now, 21-year-old, you're a man. But if you go into the league, that's all you have. You got to have players to insulate them. I really think Philadelphia needs something. I don't know what they need. You can look at championship teams that won, but how many cogs on those teams are really looking to move? How many players on the Warriors do they really want to give up? The best example you can think of right now might be, you might throw the bag at Andre Iguodala to bring him back. But I don't know, he probably stays in Miami. I would rather spend my winters in Miami than in Philadelphia. I don't know where the Flyers go. The 76ers go. It's hard. Some of the first teams I watched were the 76ers when they had Iverson. But the question is, where did they go? Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through and happened upon this video. And I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day.